bookish friends, I hope you're all well. First of all, Merry Christmas. I hope you all had an amazing Christmas. I've been a little bit sick and very busy with work, coming to the end of year and everything. I am now enjoying a nice break before I have to go back just after the new year. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to film because I haven't filmed in forever. And I thought, why don't we kick off with the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. Obviously, I've seen a lot of people do this as part of their Vlogmas, Bookmas, 12 Days of Bookmas, whatever it was. Part of those videos. And I've loved watching everyone pick the 25 priority books for next year. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that. And hopefully it will motivate me to get through some of these books, because we all know that my TBR is a little bit out of control. I'm going to do a new TBR video as well, probably just just after the new year. But for now, let's go through the 25 books that I would like to read in 2025. This is Edit in Ashton. I'm here because I clearly can't count. I missed 4 books, so we were supposed to have 25 books, and I only talk about 21. Or I only show you 21. So this is edited me just quickly coming in before I tell you the other 21 on the list. I'm going to show you the physical one that I forgot, which is Unbirthday, A Twisted Tale. This one is by Liz Braswell, which is part of the Disney Twisted Tales kind of series. These are all standalone books. You don't have to read them in an order. But I'm always reluctant to pick them up, but once I'm actually in them and I'm reading them, I always have a good time. I think I've given all of them between 3 and 4 stars, so I always have a good time. So this is on the list for 2025, Unbirthday. And then the 3, I don't own these physically, but I wanted to add them onto the list. So the first one we have is A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. Pop that there. This is the second book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. I read the first one. I can't remember what the first one's called now. My mind is literally blanked. I don't know. I read the first one in this series this year and really enjoyed it. I've obviously also read all of Chestnut Springs, so I want to continue this series and I want to get it done before I start her new one, the Rose Hill series. So yeah, that's one of them. The other one I don't own is Summer at the Twist and Turn Bakery by Helen Rolfe, and this is part of the Heritage Cove series. I'm really enjoying this series. They're nothing like mind-blowing. It's not anything crazy. They're just really fun and great characters. And it's very community based. The stories are all about different people in the village. And I just love it. So I've only got 2 left. I've got this one and another one. So I just thought I would add this in. Obviously it's a very summery read. It's called Summer at the Twist and Turn Bakery, so I'm going to save that for the summertime. And then the last one that I've decided to add on is Perfect Prey by Helen Fields. This is book 2 in the D.I. Callahan. I can't remember his name. This is part of a series. I think there's 7 books in this series. I read the first one a few years back, and it was fantastic. It was phenomenal, and I was like, oh my god, that's really good. I must read the rest of that series. And then I just completely forgot about it. And then this year, I've rediscovered Helen Fields, and I've devoured at least 4 of her books, I think, this year, and 3 out of the 4 I gave 5 stars. Perfect. So I then remembered this series, and I was like, right, I need to go back and finish that series. So that's the reason I've decided to put Perfect Prey on the list. So now I'm going to hand back over to Past Me and I will go through the other 21 books for the TBR for 2025. Okay, I've tried to film this clip a few times and I keep having a coughing fit. All my neighbours are being super loud and noisy as usual. But anyway, let's get started with the books. Now, the first one I've chosen is Perfect People by Peter James. I've got 4 books in total by this author on my shelf. They've probably been on my TBR the longest out of some of these books, sort of unread. And I just thought, you know what, I don't even know if I like this author. I've never read. Have I read from this author before? No, I think I have actually. No, I think I have. I think he did some like spooky haunted house ones, which I quite enjoyed. So this one, the only thing I know about this one, it's something to do with, it's a thriller, and it's something to do, I feel like it's something to do with online dating. John and Naomi Gleason are grieving the death of their 4-year-old son from a rare genetic disorder. They desperately want another child, but when they find out they're both carriers of a rogue gene, they realise the odds of their next child contracting the same disease are high. This doesn't sound anything like what I thought it was. Then they hear about geneticist Dr. Leo Detour. His methods that can spare them the heartache of ever losing another child to any disease, even if his methods cost more than they can afford. His clinic is where the nightmare begins. They should have realised something was wrong when they saw the list. Choices of eye colour, hair, sporting abilities. They can literally design their child. Now it's too late to turn back. Naomi is pregnant and already something is badly wrong. I have no idea then what this one was about. I thought this was maybe one of the other ones that I have is about online, like meeting someone online and then being a lunatic. I don't know. I have no idea where I got that from, but yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see. Next one. So I have chosen Times Convert by Deborah Harkness. Now this is technically book 4 in the All Souls trilogy. The All Souls series, I suppose, if you want to call it now, because there's now technically 5 books. It was originally a trilogy, which is The Discovery of Witches. Now, I read that whole series a few years ago, devoured it, absolutely loved it. I started my reread of the series this month. So I've read the first one, I've read Discovery of Witches, but this time I've decided to audiobook them. And I'm doing that on my Borrow Box, on my library app. And I've got to wait for the next 2, which are not currently available on audiobook. So by the time I finish those, it's perfect because I can then go straight into this one, being back in that world. And then I can also go into the newest one, which I think is called The Blackbird's Oracle or something along those lines. So that's my plan with this one anyway. I believe this one follows Marcus and Phoebe. Yeah, if you've read the trilogy, you will know those characters. But Marcus is basically, both of them are characters from the first book, and then this is their story. So I'm excited to get to that one. The next one that I have is The Star and the Strange Moon by Constance Sayers. Look how pretty that cover is. I just love it. A vanished star, a haunted film, a mystery only love can unravel. She's very much... I read another one of her books. I think it was called A Witch in Time. Is that what it's called? Yeah, A Witch in Time. So these are always kind of like dual timeline. There are always 2 timelines, sometimes more than 2. And there's an element of kind of like magical realism to her books, but they're always really lovely and they're very beautiful. And I enjoyed the A Witch in Time, so I was like, I'm going to give this one a go. So we've got that one. Now, moving on to another thriller, we have The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson. It takes a killer to catch a killer. Again, I'm not sure. Oh, this one's actually set in London. When bodies start washing up on the banks of the River Thames, D.I. Henley fears it's the work of Peter Oliver, the notorious jigsaw killer. But it can't be him. Oh, it's Olivier. Sorry. Peter Olivier is already behind bars, and Henley was the one who put him there. Okay, so he's put someone behind bars. He doesn't know if it's the right person. I'm presuming they've got to find out, is it a copycat, or did he put the wrong person in prison the first time? I quite like stories like that, so intrigued to see what this one's about. I've had it for a while as well, so yeah, I'm going to give that one a go. Now, I've decided to put this on because a few years back, I started reading Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle, and I've actually still got my bookmark in it, and I got about halfway through, so I've still got a couple of stories left in here that I need to finish and I need to get through, so I'm like halfway. So that's the plan for 2025. I would like to finish the other half of the adventures and memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, that's the plan. Then I've got 2 middle grades on here. These are the last 2 middle grades that I physically own that are on my physical TBR. We have Escape Room by Christopher Edge, Find the Answer, Save the World. That just looks very cool. So she thinks it's just a game, and then something turns out to be wrong, and the stakes are much higher. I don't know, but it looks fun. So I've put that one on there. And the other one I have is by Greg James and Chris Smith, and it's illustrated by Amy Nguyen. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that completely. I know I am. And that's The Great Dream Robbery, which again just looks so much fun. Have you ever really had a strange dream? Love it. No idea what it's about, but sign me up. We know that I love a middle grade. And then the next one, I am trying to get through. This author is one of my favourites. It's Sharon Bolton. I love the Lacey Flint series. I've got one more book in that to finish. And then I've read pretty much everything else from Sharon Bolton, I believe. I think so far this is the only one that I haven't read. And there may be a novella from the Lacey Flint series that I haven't read either. But this one is called The Fake Wife. And her stories are always so fast paced, and they're always really gripping and very atmospheric. Like, I always feel my adrenaline is through the roof when I read these books, so I absolutely love it. This one says, Olive Anderson is dining alone at a hotel when a glamorous stranger joins her table, pretending to be her wife. What starts out as a seductive game quickly turns dangerous. This fake wife clearly has her secrets. but Olive might just have more. So yeah, no idea what it's about because it's so vague. It says you're not who you say you are, but neither is she. Sign me up. Let's see. The next one, I've heard really good things about this. I believe it's YA, but I'm not 100% sure. But it is Signed, Sealed, Dead by Cynthia Murphy. It says, moving can be murder. Dear Paige, welcome to your new home in Shorehaven. We've been waiting for some new blood. Speaking of blood, did you know the girl who lived in this house before you was murdered? She wasn't the only one. But dead girls have secrets, Paige. So do the people in this town. Who can you trust? It's down to you to expose them. Otherwise, history will repeat itself. Love it. Small town. She's new. She's going to be a target. Love it. Secret. Sign me up. Perfect. But yeah, I've heard some good things about that one. I'm sure I've seen a few people read it and said they really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to that. The next one we have is The Murder Game by Tom Hindle. The only way to win, find the killer. So this is like giving me, it's just cozy murder mystery, I think. One house, 9 guests, endless motives for murder. Yeah, it's a New Year's Eve party. And it's a mystery game with a 1920s twist. But the evening has barely begun when one guest is found dead, killed by an injury to the head. Someone's playing by their own rules, and in a close-knit community, old rivalries run deep. I'm looking forward to this. Again, I think I've seen a few people say that they enjoyed this one. So that is going on my list. Then I have these next two I've chosen are actually from these 26 books will self-destruct video that I did in June. So technically, we've only got until June of 2025 to finish as many of those 26 books as possible, because otherwise they're being unhauled. I'm not doing very well with it, I'm not going to lie to you. I do believe I unhauled a couple from them. I'm not even sure if I've read one at all. I would have to double check, but I might do a little update of that in another video. So I decided to kind of help myself out, and I've put 2 books that are from that list. I've added them into my books to read in 2025. So the first one is The Mansfield Park Murder by Lynn Shepherd. And this one, I think it's kind of like Victorian. It's high society, yeah. So when high society crumbles, everything must fall with it. A heroine murdered, a villain turned hero, and a private investigator between it all. It's set in 1814. So I do love historical fiction that's set in like the 1800s. I love it. So sign me up for that one. And then the other one that I've decided to add on is The Lost Treasure of the Templars by James Becker. Oh, this is book 1 of the Hounds of God trilogy. Now, I didn't want to start any more series because I'm in the middle of too many. Again, you'll see that. That's going to come in another video. And this is, it's part of a trilogy. Okay, it's fine. If I try and save this maybe towards the end of 2025, hopefully I can bring my series down a little bit by then. But this kind of gives me, yeah, look, it says fans of Dan Brown and Scott Mariani. I've not read anything from those authors, but I'm aware of their work. And obviously Dan Brown is the Da Vinci Code. So, you know, I am very intrigued to read this one. So yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see what that one's about. The next one I've decided to add on is The Changing Man by Tomi Oyemekinde. I really hope I said that correctly. I have no idea what this one... Oh, this is set at like I'm presuming a private school or like a school. Students are disappearing, and if they return at all, they're uncannily changed. Oh, this is obviously horror. This sounds creepy. And I'm excited to get to it. I think this was one I wanted to try and get to in spooky season this year, and I just never managed it. So I've put it on again for my 2025 TBR, and hopefully I can get to this next spooky season, basically. Now, the next one I've decided to put on here because I need to read it. I was planning on reading it this year and I just haven't got round to it. I did have it on one of my monthly TBRs. It then ended up in my TBR graveyard, but I've decided to take it out of the TBR graveyard and add it to my 2025 TBR, and that's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I know so many people have loved this one, and I'm hoping that I am also going to love it too. So there's that one. And then I've added on, of course, because I couldn't not, I've added on 2 James Patterson books. These are like the last, I think I've got one of his true crime series ones left. And then everything else I own by him is like series. So these are the only 2 physical standalones that I have left of his to read. And that is Truth or Die by James Patterson and Howard Rowan. The truth will set you free if it doesn't kill you first. New York attorney Trevor Mann's world shatters when he receives a phone call telling him his girlfriend has been shot dead in a mugging, but the circumstances point to something more calculated than a random attack. Claire was a New York Times journalist, and Trevor is convinced she had unearthed a secret so shocking that she was murdered to keep it from coming to light. Chasing Claire's leads, Trevor will risk everything to discover what exactly she was killed for. It's time to find out the truth or die. We all know I enjoy his writing. They're always fast paced. The storylines are normally really good. I have had a few misses this year with some of the James Patterson books. I actually DNF'd 3 of them this year. Shocking, cannot believe it. Actually, sorry, no, I just DNF'd a 4th one, and that was the 2nd in a series. I just don't like the character, so it's not that the story's bad or terrible or anything. It's entertaining, but I just don't like the main character, so I can't listen, I can't pay attention to it anymore, so I DNF'd it. And then the other one that I decided to put on, this is the last one I have. This one is called The Noise, and this one is James Patterson and J.D. Barker. Now, I read a book by these 2 this year. I listened to the audiobook of it. I can't remember what it was called now. Confessions of the Dead or something like that. And it was the strangest thing I've ever read or listened to. And it just didn't work. It didn't hit for me. So I'm a bit worried that this might not hit either. But I do want to give it a go. It says 2 sisters have always stood together. Now they're the only ones left. It says the girls are suddenly overcome by a strange vibrating rising out of the forest, building in intensity until it sounds like a deafening crescendo of screams. From out of nowhere, their father sweeps them up and drops them through a trapdoor into a storm cellar, but the noise only gets worse. No clue. But yeah, I've added it on there because I just want them off my TBR now. I want to be able to be done and just have the series left of his that I want to get through. The next, or the last 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last 5, they are all romance books. We have Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This one, I don't know, is this one of her adult ones? I'm not sure. No idea. I've not read anything by Lynn Painter. I know that a lot of people do really like her writing. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one a go. My daughter bought me this and the next one last Christmas, I think it was, and then The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I think this one's like a Groundhog Day kind of trope, and I get quite bored with the Groundhog Day kind of trope, so I'm intrigued to see if she does it well. So yeah, we've chosen that. Then I've decided to go for Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I've only ever read one other Christina Lauren book, which was The Unhoneymooners, which at the time, I read it quite a few years ago, and at the time I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much if I read it now, but I'm intrigued to read that one. And yeah, that's the only one of theirs that I physically own, so I thought, why not? And then the next one I've decided to add on is The Bookshop by the Lock by Julie Shackman. I've read a few of these books. I think there's 8 books now in these series. I'm pretty sure they're all just standalones. So I don't think you have to read them in order or anything like that. But these are just cute, easy palette cleansers. So yeah, I thought I'd chuck that one on. It's going to be a nice little kind of summary read, so yeah, I thought I'd go for that. And then the final one that I decided to add on, I just love this cover. It's Love at First Night by Megan Clausen. I also have Megan Clausen's other book, Falling Hard for the Royal Guard. I don't know if I'm making that up. Am I making that up? So I've not, yeah, Falling Hard for the Royal Guard. I'm not losing my mind. I was right. So this is the little sprayed edge one. I've not read anything by her yet, but I do know a lot of people seemed to enjoy this one when they read it this year. So I thought, let's whack that on, another cute fluffy little romance to break up a lot of the thriller and stuff that I'm probably going to be reading into 2025, because it's going to be my year to really nail down and get through my physical TBR and to get my series down. that's going to be my big goals for 2025. But those are the books that will be on my TBR. And I'm going to be intrigued to see at the end of 2025 how many of these we manage to actually get through. I'm going to predict here and now that I'm going to read all 25. That's my prediction. Let's see. I've got to live up to it now. I've got to live up to it. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for sticking around. I'm going to definitely try and film more in the next coming months and stuff. I've just been so crazy busy with work, but I really love being here and talking about books and reading the books and sharing all of my thoughts with you guys. So that's it from me. I'm not going to jibber jabber on anymore. like, subscribe, you know what to do, and I will see you in whatever comes next.